Golden State Media Concepts bring you the Bible Study Podcast. Reflect and journey the Bible as together we study God's Word and be inspired. Bible study made fun and informative for all ages. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Bible Study Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Bible Study Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am happy to be with you. I hope that you are safe and healthy and well. We are in a mandatory stay-at-home phase here in California, and I know a lot of other states have those as well. My home state of Montana will be starting that on Saturday, day after tomorrow, and many other people are in that as well. So whatever day of, whatever you want to call it, sheltering in place, physical distancing, quarantine, whatever day you're on, I hope things are going well. I hope you're finding ways to pass the time and stay connected, at least emotionally and spiritually and however you can, except for physically, that you are following those guidelines so that we can flatten the curve. I have been really enjoying all of the ways to worship, ways to connect spiritually with others in terms of church services, Bible studies, etc., that are now online. Both churches that I currently work for are doing different versions of worship online. One is using Facebook Live and one is using Zoom. So there are different ways, and people are learning a lot of new skills during this time. I myself am learning new things, and I hope that you're staying connected. I hope that I can help you to stay connected a little bit. I'm going to try to post more often, maybe shorter episodes, but more often, so that it, just adds one more thing to your day to do and pass the time. If you're feeling a little stir crazy, if you're feeling a little bored, that's okay. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, a little scared, that is certainly okay. It is a new world, it is a new normal, and it is a scary place that we live in right now. So as part of that scary place, I want to share the psalm that was assigned for this past Sunday, which is the fourth Sunday in Lent. It is Psalm 23. It's going to be familiar to a lot of you. We've talked about it on this podcast before. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Again, that is Psalm 23. I probably don't need to tell you that again. I'm sure that you are probably pretty familiar with that psalm. And as I've said before, there's definitely a reason that this psalm is a favorite to read at funerals, at memorial services, at times of difficulty. And I think it's appropriate for us now. I listened to a devotional that my friend Christine did on Facebook this past week regarding Psalm 23. Christine has actually been on the podcast on one of the Friends on Faith on Friday segments. She is a pastor in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and I love her anyway, but I loved being able to attend a devotion with her. I haven't seen her in forever, and so to watch her on Facebook Live and to listen to her words was wonderful. And something that she said really resonated with me. She was talking about this psalm, how it is definitely a psalm of comfort, how we often turn to this psalm when we are in need of comfort. And what she pointed out was that the psalm is in the present tense. The Lord is my shepherd. God walks with me beside still waters, restores my soul. You are with me. God is with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This is in present tense. It's not, you will restore my soul. It's not, you did restore my soul. Although that is perfectly acceptable. God, I'm sure, will continue restoring our souls, and God has restored our souls in the past. But this is in the present tense. God is with us now. God is walking with us through this dark valley, this time of uncertainty and fear and just craziness that we've never experienced before, not to this level. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know how long we might be forced to stay at home. We're worried about the economy. We're worried about our own finances. And yet, this is in the present tense. God is with us during this. Now, does that mean that we can just say, well, God is with me, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to just keep doing my normal life and it doesn't matter. God will take care of me? Well, no, you still need to follow the rules and the directives. You still need to take care of those who are the most vulnerable among us because, of course, that is also an Old Testament dictate, right? We are to take care of those who are the most vulnerable in our society. In the Old Testament, that would have been the widows, the orphans, those who were without someone to help them financially, to support them, to give them a place in society. Whereas now the most vulnerable among us are the people with compromised immune systems, the elderly, those with respiratory issues, medically fragile children and adults, people who do not need to get one more thing that, many of us think, well, I am young or young-ish and I'm healthy. I can survive this. Yeah, probably you can. But what about those who you may come in contact with and inadvertently infect, who aren't as strong as you are, who might be medically fragile? So this is a good way to practice loving our neighbor by staying away from our neighbor. I know that might seem a little counterintuitive, but when we put our trust in God, that doesn't mean that we just throw caution to the winds and say, to heck with what the world is telling me. I'm going to do what I want because God is on my side. Maybe you have seen the Facebook meme of Jesus knocking on the door and saying, Debbie, I appreciate that you're telling people that your health is in my hands, but you're still going to have to wash your hands and you're still going to have to, I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but basically you still need to do what you need to do to stay healthy and keep others healthy. That does not mean that we cannot look to God during these times because God is with us. God is with those we love. God is with those who are sick, those who are affected by this virus in so many different ways, whether that's health-wise, whether that's financial, whether that is just, homeschooling your kids. If you're in that situation and you're desperately trying to maintain some sort of routine, some sort of normalcy, I wish you all of the best. I wish you the greatest luck with that. But know that God is with you and know that your community is with you. Whatever that community is, there are ways to connect that aren't going to affect someone's health. We are living in an age that is amazing in terms of technology. We are able to FaceTime. We're able to do Zoom meetings. We're able to do Facebook Live. We're able to connect with each other over email, over Instagram, over Snapchat, over whatever it is. And so we aren't as isolated as we could be if we weren't living in this particular time. And I really, really appreciate that. And I see that as one of the ways that God is with me because we are all incarnate. We all have a little bit of the divine in us. And so when we connect with one another, we are being Jesus to one another. We are doing God's work for one another, and we are connecting with one another. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about Psalm 23. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Bible Study Podcast, and I'll be right back. So as part of this break, I want to tell you that I've recently learned about Birch Gold Group. They are one of the top dealers of physical precious metals in the United States. They provide something called gold IRAs, which I am now learning about. That is you can convert a portion of your IRA or 401k into an IRA backed by physical precious metals. That is a gold IRA. Now, I know that my listeners are all very intelligent, and so you've probably been thinking about what your plan might be in terms of your savings, in terms of your investments. The question is, can you afford another hit to your retirement like the last downturn when the S&P dropped 50%? Not many of us probably can. You might want to know that gold is a safe haven against uncertainty, that it can be a good way to diversify your plan, your savings plan. And Birch Gold Group is a trusted place to make precious metal purchases. Right now, thanks to the little-known IRS tax law, you can even move your IRA or eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold and silver. It's perfect for those who want to protect their hard-earned retirement savings from any future geopolitical uncertainty. So contact Birch Gold Group to request a free info kit on physical precious metals to see if diversifying into gold and silver makes sense for you. The comprehensive 20-page kit reveals how gold and silver can protect your savings and how you can legally move your IRA or 401k out of risky stocks and bonds and into a precious metals IRA. To get your no-cost, no-obligation kit, go to birchgold.com/Bible. That's BIRCH gold.com/Bible.
Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Welcome back to the GSMC Bible Study Podcast. We have been talking about Psalm 23, and I've also been talking about ways to connect. And I have seen a lot of really great things on social media that have helped me to maintain some sort of spiritual connection and some sort of spiritual practices. And I really like the Zoom videos where choirs sing together remotely. So they all come together on Zoom and sing, and some of them are really impressive. I'm also impressed that they can sync everything up, because I know a lot of my friends are having difficulty with Zoom worship, where when everyone tries to speak at once, it does not go well. But that might just be because they don't have a professional conductor or leader making sure that they're all on the same page. I do not know, but there's been some really good videos out there. There's been some really good devotionals out there. You can watch worship. I have been enjoying going to worship when I am at home in my jammies. That is a great way for an introvert to worship. And I also want to reiterate that this psalm that we're talking about, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, is again in the present time. And, you know, we're always taught to live in the moment, and that's not always easy. And it's not easy right now when you have so many things weighing you down, when you are trying to figure out what's next, when you are, I don't know, maybe trying to figure out where you're going to get toilet paper, because every time you go to the store, there isn't any, and you're not supposed to go to the store all that often. So, you know, we're always thinking about what's coming up, what's next, what do I need to plan for? Oh my goodness, I have to homeschool the kids now. I have to figure out how to work from home. I have to do the X, Y, and Z. We're always maybe thinking in the future, or we're thinking, Man, last year was not like this. I really miss the normalcy. I really miss the routine. And we are, living in the past. But what we're supposed to do is live in the moment. We're supposed to be here in the now. We're supposed to be mindful of what is going on around us. And that's not always easy. But this psalm reminds us that God is with us in the present, that we should live in that moment. We should remember that God is with us, that God goes with us into the darkest valley. And God will be there for us no matter what. And we can also then be there for each other. As I said, I've really enjoyed the videos with people presenting music, and one thing that both churches that I work at this past weekend used Be Thou My Vision as one of their hymns. I keep seeing it online. It is one of my favorites, and so I would like to share with you a verse of Be Thou My Vision. I apologize. It's allergy season. I'm a little croaky. I'm going to do my best. I apologize if it's terrible, but a verse of Be Thou My Vision to just hopefully help center your day a little bit. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought, both by day and by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom and thou my true word. I am with thee and thou with me, Lord. Thou my soul shelter and thou my tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power and Lord. So first off, that was not me playing the piano. I took piano lessons once upon a time, but I cannot play that well. That was the lovely Maria, who is the accompanist at the Lutheran church that I work with. And I mentioned being croaky because of allergies, but I totally forgot being asthmatic because of allergies. I'm going to have to strengthen my voice. I haven't sung out loud for anyone in a long time. So thank you for bearing with me. If you fast forwarded through that, I understand. I totally get it. But I did just want to share one of my favorite hymns with you because it brings me comfort and it brings me joy. And I hope maybe in some small way it did the same for you. Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode. I'm going to, as I said, try to do some smaller episodes like this more often so that I can be with you and we can connect hopefully in some ways throughout this time of craziness. I hope that you are staying safe, staying well, and remembering that God loves you and you are a beautiful and beloved child of God. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Bible Study Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.